Good afternoon, students. Here we start with the embryology lecture of the elementary system. In the embryology lecture of elementary system, this is our topic which is known as general consideration. Now in general consideration of the embryological aspect of elementary system, we draw a very interesting diagram. Here we start with the umbilical opening, and then we have this pericardial bulge, stomatodium, and the head bulge, and then this is the caudal tail end, and this is how we draw. Similarly, now we shall be drawing the gut tube, elementary tube. Now the gut tube which we are going to draw will be, this is the gut tube, we know that, and we are going to understand the entire aspect of the gut tube. So this is how the gut tube will be there in the early stages of the embryo. Now this is the mid-sagittal section of the embryo in the early stage, and now after drawing this generalized line diagram of the early stage of the mid-sagittal section of the embryo, the entire elementary system, remember we are discussing the general consideration of the entire elementary system, the introductory lecture of the embryology, the development of elementary system. So therefore, the first very important statement will be the entire endodermal lining, that is the entire mucosal lining as well as the glands of elementary system will be developed from this portion where my finger is there, and therefore this portion will be known as definitive yolk sac. This definitive yolk sac will be engulfed inside within the folds of the embryo, head fold, tail fold, and the two lateral folds of embryo at the time of folding of the embryo, in such a way that from this endoderm of definitive yolk sac, the entire elementary tube or elementary duct or the gastrointestinal tube or gastrointestinal duct will develop. So the entire elementary tube will be developed from the endoderm of the definitive yolk sac. This statement is very important. Similarly, it will develop into the entire mucous membrane, the mucous lining of the entire elementary tube, as well as the glands of the elementary system. So endoderm of definitive yolk sac will develop into these two structures, the mucous lining of the elementary tube as well as the glands of the elementary system. Now, this is the primitive gut tube, we know that, and this connecting portion is the vitello-intestinal duct, that also we know, which will connect the ventral portion of the midgut with that of the definitive yolk sac. Now, the entire primitive gut tube will extend from cephalic end to caudal end. From cephalic end, it will be separated from this stomatodium by bilaminar membrane. This is the bilaminar membrane where my finger is there. And this bilaminar membrane is known as the buccopharyngeal membrane. So therefore, the name of this membrane will be buccopharyngeal membrane. So the primitive gut tube in the initial stages of development will extend from cephalic portion, buccopharyngeal membrane, till the caudal portion where my fingers are there. This caudal portion over here is also separated from this ectoderm from the outside. This portion will be known as the proctodium. So it is separated from proctodium by another bilaminar membrane, and this bilaminar membrane will be known as the cloacal membrane. So therefore, the primitive gut tube is extending from buccopharyngeal membrane in the cephalic portion till the cloacal membrane in the caudal portion. And how this gut tube has developed, primitive gut tube, from the endoderm of the yolk sac during the foldings of the embryo. Now, this entire generalized concept of the development of elementary system is better understood first by watching the foldings of the embryo, the head fold, tail fold, and the two lateral folds of the embryo, which I have discussed in my embryology series of our channel. So kindly go through that head folds, tail folds and the two lateral folds of the embryo, before we start with this, it could make things very simple to understand. Now we consider the foregut first. What is the limit of the foregut? The foregut is that portion of the yolk sac, which is present in the head fold. So this much portion is the head fold of the embryo. So foregut is nothing but the definitive yolk sac only, endoderm of the definitive yolk sac, but which is present in the head fold of the embryo. And it will extend from buccopharyngeal membrane till, if I show it over here, this is anterior intestinal portal. So this portion here, I will just mention it as anterior intestinal portal. So this much portion is our foregut. Anterior intestinal portal. Now sometimes it is asked in one mark question answer or MCQs, that will correspond in future, that is in mature stage, as the portion where bile duct will open in second part of duodenum. So anterior intestinal portal will be that portion, it will correspond in mature stage with the junction where the bile duct is terminating in second portion of duodenum. That is the portion of anterior intestinal portal, or rather the hepatopancreatic ampulla, where it terminates in the second part of duodenum, that is ampulla of Vater. At that portion, that is anterior intestinal portion. So till that portion, the foregut is present. Now, in order to complete the diagram here, we first draw on this side, this is the neural tube, entire neural tube, and then in front of neural tube here, we show the notochord, and then we show the dorsal mesentery. The dorsal mesentery will be present on the dorsal, this is the dorsal side of the entire gut tube. So it is attaching the dorsal side of the entire gut tube with the dorsal abdominal wall or posterior abdominal wall, that is the dorsal mesentery. And then over here we show, this is the pericardial bulge. So we show the pericardial cavity with the heart tube, which is present in its dorsal aspect. So this is the pericardial cavity with the heart tube, and just caudal to it, this is the region where there is septum transversum. So this is the region of septum transversum. Over here, this is the pericardial cavity with the heart tube, vitellointestinal duct, and over here I am going to show the posterior intestinal portal. This we are going to discuss when we take midgut and hindgut. Right now we are concentrating in the foregut. Now in the foregut, as this foregut will develop, as it will enlarge, there will be, in the initial stages, there will be development of laryngotracheal groove, which will then grow caudally and forwards from the ventral portion of the foregut. So exactly at this level, there will be development of this laryngotracheal groove. So therefore, this laryngotracheal groove, which will then enlarge as laryngotracheal diverticulum, which will pass in caudal direction and forwards in front of the foregut. And where will this groove take its origin, or where will this groove be present or start its development? On the ventral border of foregut, ventral border, where in future there will be junction between pharynx and esophagus. So this laryngotracheal diverticulum, that is laryngotracheal tube, the laryngotracheal groove will develop at such a point where from future there will be the junction of pharynx and esophagus. That is the future pharyngoesophageal junction. That is the point where laryngotracheal groove will develop. So here we are just going to mark this as laryngotracheal groove or laryngotracheal diverticulum, and this structure is our foregut. Now we want to show this in a enlarged view in such a way that now we consider the developments that will take place in the foregut. So please come on this side here. On this side we are going to show the entire foregut This will be the entire foregut, and we are going to show till the level of, this is the portion of the midgut loop, and from the midgut loop again allantoic diverticulum and the hindgut. So this much we are going to show. From here we are going to show the entire dorsal portion of the tube, and we are going to join with this. And here I am going to show at this particular level, let me show this tube in such a way that here this is the foregut, and then this is the midgut loop which I am going to show, and then once again this will be the hindgut. Now here we are going to show the anterior intestinal portal as well as posterior intestinal portal. And what we are going to show will be, there will be this vitello-intestinal duct which will communicate with the umbilical vesicle. And now we will cover, for example, we are going to cover this, and we are going to show that this is how there will be presence of the cloacal membrane where my finger is there, and gradually we show the presence of the pericardial bulge as well as this buccopharyngeal membrane, and above the head fold. So above is the head fold, presence of neural tube over there, and therefore this is the neural tube. This will be the entire neural tube. In front of neural tube we are going to show the notochord, and we are going to complete this with the mesentery. So this is the dorsal mesentery, and now we are going to, this is the dorsal mesentery which is extending in this midgut loop. Now we are going to show the laryngotracheal diverticulum, that is laryngotracheal groove, which will then slowly pass in the caudal direction and forward direction. So therefore at this level we are going to show this laryngotracheal groove, and here we show this groove which is going caudally and in forward direction from the ventral portion of the foregut. So therefore this entire region is our foregut. Now because of this laryngotracheal groove, there will be, now once I mention this as laryngotracheal groove, there will be the entire foregut which will divide into pre-laryngeal portion, post-laryngeal portion. This is very important. Or cephalic portion of the foregut, caudal portion of the foregut. The cephalic portion of the foregut will be from buccopharyngeal membrane, the buccopharyngeal membrane, till the level of anterior intestinal portal. So the entire foregut will be till anterior intestinal portal, but the cephalic portion or the pre-laryngeal portion of the foregut will be from buccopharyngeal membrane till the level of laryngotracheal groove. So till this level, till laryngotracheal groove, this much portion from buccopharyngeal membrane till the level of laryngotracheal groove will be the cephalic portion of the foregut, or it is called pre-laryngeal portion of the foregut. And the portion of foregut which is present below this laryngotracheal groove, till anterior intestinal portal will be the caudal portion of the foregut or post-laryngeal portion of the foregut. Now further, there will be various structures which will develop from the pre-laryngeal portion of the foregut and post-laryngeal portion of the foregut, which is asked in 1 mark question answers or short answer questions. Now, before we derive those structures, before we understand what are those structures which are developing from the pre-laryngeal or cephalic portion of the foregut and post-laryngeal or caudal portion of the foregut, we shall draw over here this bulge. This is the pericardial bulge. So here in the pericardial bulge, we are showing the pericardial cavity with the heart tube inside. So this is just the pericardial cavity. Now, always remember that this laryngotracheal tube, the laryngotracheal tube that is enlarged in caudal direction and forwards to the in front of the foregut, will develop into the entire larynx, trachea and lung buds. So larynx, trachea and lungs will develop from this laryngotracheal groove itself. And remember, laryngotracheal groove is endoderm in nature because it is a diverticulum, ventral diverticulum of the foregut. Now coming to this portion, cephalic portion of the foregut, prelaryngeal portion of the foregut, the structures that will develop from the prelaryngeal portion of the foregut will be, first there will be development of various branchial arches. For example, these are the branchial arches which will develop. These branchial arches are important in head and neck, and as these branchial arches will develop in the prelaryngeal portion of the foregut, so here I will name this as the prelaryngeal portion of the foregut, in which there will be development of branchial arches. Along with branchial arches, there will be development of definitive mouth or the definitive oral cavity. And along with that, various structures which will develop in the prelaryngeal portion will be salivary glands, the tongue and tonsils. So these structures will be developed from the prelaryngeal portion of the foregut. This is the fundamental. This you need to understand before we deal with individual sections, individual parts of the alimentary system, how they develop. This is how the fundamentals of the alimentary system will develop. If you understand these fundamentals, it becomes easier for you to understand in detail. So these are the structures that will develop from the prelaryngeal portion of the foregut. Branchial arches, including the pouches, including the oral cavity, including salivary glands, the tongue, the tonsils. Now what about the postlaryngeal portion? The postlaryngeal portion of the foregut or the caudal portion of the foregut is below this laryngotracheal diverticulum till anterior intestinal portal, and this much portion is the postlaryngeal portion which will develop into very precise, it will develop into esophagus, stomach and the upper part of duodenum, proximal part of duodenum till anterior intestinal portal. And in the beginning itself I had clarified that anterior intestinal portal in mature stage, in adult life, it will correspond with the opening of bile duct in the second part of duodenum or the opening of hepatopancreatic ampulla or ampulla of Vater. So therefore, the duodenum, proximal part of duodenum will be till the level of opening of bile duct in second part of duodenum or till the level of hepatopancreatic ampulla or ampulla of Vater. So the portion of duodenum that lies above that hepatopancreatic ampulla or ampulla of Vater or the opening of the bile duct in second part of duodenum, that portion is called proximal portion of duodenum. So therefore, the postlaryngeal part of the foregut will develop into esophagus, stomach and proximal portion of duodenum till the opening of hepatopancreatic ampulla or ampulla of Vater in the duodenum. So this much is about the foregut. Coming up now, therefore in the midgut, we come to the midgut. Midgut is surrounded by the two lateral folds of the embryo. Remember, the midgut is surrounded by the two lateral folds of the embryo, as we have explained in the foldings of the embryo. Now, this is the midgut loop, the entire midgut loop, which is present in the umbilical opening, which will remain outside the umbilical opening of the fetus for few weeks. This is known as physiological umbilical hernia. And here, this portion, connecting portion will be the vitello-intestinal duct, which will also disappear after some time. And gradually here, this is umbilical vesicle. Now, this midgut will be the portion of the yolk sac itself. It is the endodermal lining of the yolk sac, definitive yolk sac. But it will be present between anterior intestinal portal and posterior intestinal portal. So here, this one will be the posterior intestinal portal, and anterior intestinal portal we have discussed. What is posterior intestinal portal? It is the junction between the midgut and hindgut. That means from here, there will be starting off, this portion is the hindgut. The portion of the gut tube caudal to the posterior intestinal portal in embryological stage is known as hindgut. We are in the midgut segment. So the portion of the gut tube that is present between anterior and posterior intestinal portal is called midgut. Now posterior intestinal portal, this portion in adult stage, in mature stage, it will correspond with the junction between proximal 2/3 and distal 1/3 of transverse colon, or right 2/3 and left 1/3 of transverse colon. That particular junction in embryological stage is represented by posterior intestinal portal. This much portion will be the midgut. Now, just as laryngotracheal tube is developing in the foregut, and as it divides the foregut into pre-laryngeal and post-laryngeal part, same way in this advanced stage of embryology, this is the advanced stage of embryology. At this stage, in the midgut also, where my finger is there will be development of sickle bud. So therefore, here there will be development of sickle bud. This is the sickle bud. And here I will just mark it as sickle bud. And this sickle bud, as it has developed in the midgut loop, it will divide the entire development of the midgut into pre-sickle and post-sickle portion. So the pre-sickle portion, this is the pre-sickle portion here from anterior intestinal portal till the sickle bud. This much is the pre-sickle segment of midgut. From the pre-sickle segment of midgut, what are the structures that will develop? So if I mention here from the pre-sickle, I'm going to mention here, is it coming over here? So pre-sickle portion, there will be the development of following structures. Please note down, again one more question answer or MCQs. Pre-sickle portion of the midgut will lead to development of distal part of duodenum. The distal part of duodenum, that is the portion of duodenum below the hepatopancreatic ampulla, or portion of duodenum below the opening of the bile duct in second part of duodenum. So portion of duodenum that is below the hepatopancreatic ampulla or ampulla of Vater. Second, from the pre-sickle segment of midgut, there will be development of the coils of jejunum. And third structure, there will be development of the coils of ileum. So these are the three structures that will develop from the pre-sickle portion of the midgut. What about the post-sickle? Now from here, where I am putting this arrow, from here till posterior intestinal portal, this much portion of the midgut will be known as post-sickle portion. So from this post-sickle portion, the post-sickle portion of midgut, following structures will develop. What are those structures? It will lead to development of, very interesting, number 1, cecum, number 2, vermiform appendix, number 3, ascending colon, and number 4, right 2/3 of transverse colon. The right 2/3 of transverse colon. These are the 4 structures that will develop from the post-sickle segment. Post-sickle segment of the midgut will lead to development of cecum, vermiform appendix, ascending colon, and right 2/3, the right 2/3 of transverse colon. Then we come to hindgut. Now in the hindgut, what is hindgut? The portion of the gut tube that is present between posterior intestinal portal and cloacal membrane, where my finger is there. So this much portion is called hindgut. In order to elaborate that, this structure, we need to create more space. So therefore, please come on this side over here. Now here I am going to draw and show this will be the hindgut. So this is the entire hindgut from posterior intestinal portal till here cloacal membrane. And here if I show the cloacal membrane, then this is the cloacal, this entire ring structure is the cloacal membrane. And over here, this portion will be the posterior intestinal portal. So this much is sagittal section of the hindgut. Now remember, in the earlier diagram, please come on this side. First I am going to show it over here. this portion of hindgut from posterior intestinal portal till the cloacal membrane. Posterior intestinal portal till cloacal membrane. From the ventral portion of hindgut, this is the diverticulum, which we had drawn already. This diverticulum is known as allantoenteric diverticulum, or simply it is known as allantoid diverticulum from the ventral portion of the hindgut. And it is passing where? It is passing inside the fetal end of umbilical cord. This statement is very important. So this allantoid diverticulum or allantoenteric diverticulum, which is a diverticulum from the ventral portion of the hindgut, will be passing in the fetal end of the umbilical cord. And this allantoid diverticulum will divide the hindgut again into two parts, pre-allantoic, post-allantoic. Now this diagram, please come on this side, we have enlarged. So therefore, now this is our allantoenteric diverticulum, or simply it is called allantoic diverticulum. So this structure is nothing but allantoic diverticulum. Now this allantoic diverticulum will divide the hindgut into two segments. The portion above the level of allantoic diverticulum, that portion of hindgut here, this portion will lead to the development of various structures. And what are those structures? For example, those structures will be below the posterior intestinal portal. So therefore, the structures that will develop from this much portion of hindgut, and remember, this much portion of the hindgut will be known as pre-allantoic portion of the hindgut. Structures developing from them, the structures that will develop from pre-allantoic portion will be, number one, left 1/3 of transverse colon, the left 1/3 of transverse colon, the left 1/3 of the transverse colon. Then the descending colon, and then we come to sigmoid colon. So these three structures will develop from the pre-allantoic portion of hindgut, the portion of hindgut that lies above the level of allantoic diverticulum. Three structures, that is the left 1/3 of transverse colon, descending colon, and sigmoid colon. This much portion of the hindgut will be known as post-allantoic portion of the hindgut. So it will be known as the post-allantoic portion of the hindgut. This post-allantoic portion of the hindgut, very interesting, it will have its division by urorectal septum. Now there will be, in future, there will be presence of urorectal septum in this direction. It will be passing in longitudinal direction. And this itself, this groove, this fissure between allantoic diverticulum and hindgut, this will in future enlarge in caudal direction longitudinally, and it will lead to development of urorectal septum. This urorectal septum, as it grows caudally, will divide the post-allantoic part of the hindgut into ventral and dorsal portion. The ventral portion will be known as primitive urogenital sinus. This ventral portion in front of this septum, this much. And dorsal portion, this will be known as the primitive rectum. But always remember the other name, because these structures are asked in 1 mark question answer in a lot of MCQs. The other name of post-allantoic portion of the hindgut, this much portion of the hindgut, is also known as endodermal cloaca. It is also called endodermal cloaca. Many times it is asked in 1 mark question answer. Define endodermal cloaca. What is endodermal cloaca? It is a fusiform dilatation of post-allantoic part of the hindgut that is known as endodermal cloaca, and in future, because of the longitudinal development of urorectal septum, the entire endodermal cloaca will be divided into ventral and dorsal portion. The ventral portion will form primitive urogenital sinus. Dorsal portion will form primitive rectum. So therefore, from primitive rectum, in future there will be development of rectum and anal canal. Rectum as well as the anal canal. The rectum and anal canal will develop from primitive rectum. Primitive urogenital sinus will lead to development of urinary bladder and primitive urethra. These are the structures that will develop from endodermal cloaca, post-allantoic portion of the hindgut, which is split into two parts, ventral and dorsal, by urorectal septum. Primitive urogenital sinus, the ventral portion developing into urinary bladder and the primitive urethra, and the dorsal portion which will be known as primitive rectum, which will develop into rectum and anal canal. Now, when we come to this side, please come on this side, the buccopharyngeal membrane and cloacal membrane. The buccopharyngeal membrane and cloacal membrane will rupture respectively at 4th week and around 6th week of intraembryonic stage. And thereafter, after their rupture, the foregut will communicate to the outside in stomatodium, and the hindgut will communicate to the outside with the proctodium. And now we consider few important points. Always note down, these are also asked in MCQs or 1 mark question answer. The entire mucous membrane, once again I am going to write down over here, the entire mucous membrane as well as the glands of alimentary system, they are going to develop from endoderm. They are purely endodermal in origin. So these two structures are endodermal in origin. Now the entire alimentary tube, the entire gut tube, the entire gastrointestinal tract will also contain connective tissue layers and musculature. So always note down that connective tissue layers of the gut tube as well as its musculature, smooth muscles of the gut tube, as well as the serosa, that is another connective tissue lining, they will develop from splanchnopluric layer of lateral plate mesoderm. They will develop from splanchnopluric mesoderm. This is 1 mark question answer. So in the gut tube, the connective tissue, serosa and the musculature, they will develop from splanchnopluric layer of lateral plate mesoderm, or simply splanchnopluric mesoderm. Now this splanchnopluric mesoderm, on both the sides, right and left sides, they will fuse in the median plane in the posterior abdominal wall. They will fuse in the mid plane in posterior abdominal wall, and please come on this side, and they will form dorsal mesentery where my hand is there. So the lateral plate mesoderm will develop into this structure, and this structure is known as dorsal mesentery. The lateral plate mesoderm, they will cover the gut tube, the entire intestines, and then they will form the dorsal mesentery. This will become the root of the mesentery, where they will attach the gut tube to the posterior abdominal wall. And in the initial stages, here there will be presence of dorsal aorta, which we need to show. So there will be presence of this dorsal aorta just below the notochord we are showing. This is the dorsal aorta in the initial stages of development of embryology. And this, through the dorsal mesentery, from this dorsal aorta there are various branches for foregut, midgut, hindgut. So 3 branches will be there, one for the foregut, one for midgut, one for the hindgut. And these 3 arteries, they are branches of dorsal aorta. And these 3 branches of dorsal aorta, they will travel through the dorsal mesentery. They will travel through the dorsal mesentery. So therefore, now we show number 1, this is the celiac artery, the artery of foregut. Number 2, this we show it as superior mesenteric artery, the artery of midgut. And this we show as inferior mesenteric artery, the artery of the hindgut. These three arteries are asked, the names of these three arteries can be asked in Viva or MCQs or one mark question answer. So here we show the dorsal aorta and its three branches in embryonic stage, so that celiac artery will branch and travel through dorsal mesentery and supply the derivatives of foregut. So it is called the artery of the foregut. Superior mesenteric artery will supply the derivatives of midgut, so it is called the artery of the midgut. Inferior mesenteric artery will supply the derivatives of hindgut, so it is known as the artery of the hindgut. Now for the midgut section, entire midgut, please come on this side. This portion of the midgut, I have discussed the complete lecture of the development of the midgut in our embryology series of our channel. Kindly you can search through the playlist of our channel, and through the playlist you can search for the lecture of the development of the midgut. Remember, this lecture here we have considered the general consideration, the general introduction of the development of alimentary system, right from foregut till hindguts, right from buccopharyngeal membrane till cloacal membrane. These are the fundamentals, the basics. If you understand this, it will be very easy to understand the future concepts, the future lectures. Thank you very much.